Have you ever stopped to think about what would happen if we found a perfectly square structure on Mars? Well, this actually happened, and the internet went crazy. But hold on, before you start shouting that aliens have finally revealed themselves, let's unravel this fascinating story together that stirs our imagination and makes us question everything we know about the red planet. Just imagine the scene. You're a NASA scientist analyzing images of Mars when suddenly you come across something that definitely shouldn't be there. A structure with perfect 90-degree angles, defined edges, a geometric shape that screams artificial on a planet where there should only be natural rocks and craters. Your heart races, your hands tremble, and the first question that comes to mind is inevitable. Have we finally found evidence of intelligent life in space? This whole story began back in the 90s, when NASA was planning the next missions to Mars. They needed more precise data to choose the best landing sites, understand Martian geology, and study the planet's seasonal changes. That's when they launched the Mars Global Surveyor in 1996, a space probe that would completely change our understanding of Mars. The Mars Global Surveyor had a specific mission: to enter polar orbit around Mars. This choice wasn't random. There's a brilliant strategic advantage to this type of orbit. While the probe goes around the planet, Mars continues rotating underneath, so with each pass you photograph a new strip of territory. It's like you're drawing stripes on a ball that's spinning in front of you. In the end, you put all these high-resolution images together and have a detailed map of the entire planet. The data that came back from this mission was simply spectacular. Terabytes of information, thousands of photographs, discoveries that rewrote astronomy books. But every now and then, in the middle of all this immensity of data, someone finds something that makes everyone stop and look twice. And that's exactly what happened with our famous square structure. The original image showed something truly intriguing: a formation with well-defined angles, edges that seemed too artificial to be natural. When the images were processed and digitally enhanced, the structure became even more impressive. Perfect 90-degree angles, straight lines, a geometry that you simply don't see in Martian nature. But here's where a fundamental question comes in. How many right angles do you see around in nature? Think about it. Most natural formations have curves, arcs, irregular shapes. This happens because nature is chaotic, unpredictable. Asteroids collide with surfaces creating circular craters. Wind sculpts rocks into organic forms. Erosion creates patterns that follow physics, not Euclidean geometry. Mars has approximately the same land area as Earth. If you took all the continental area of our planet and spread it over Mars, it would cover the entire surface. Now imagine you have this gigantic area to examine, pixel by pixel, rock by rock. What types of strange formations could you find just by statistical chance? The truth is, this wasn't the first time we thought we'd found something artificial on Mars. Back in 1976, one of the first reconnaissance probes photographed something that looked like a human face on the Martian surface. It wasn't just any face. It was an ape-like face, with characteristics that reminded us of our primate ancestors. It had a nose, eye sockets, cheekbones, oval head shape. The internet of that era went crazy. Our brain is an incredible pattern recognition machine. There's even a scientific name for this tendency: pareidolia. It's our extraordinary ability to see faces and familiar shapes where they don't really exist. This was crucial for our survival as a species. We needed to quickly identify faces of predators or members of our group. But sometimes this ability plays tricks on us. When other probes photographed the same region years later, with better resolution and different angles, the famous face disappeared. It was just a play of light and shadow, natural rock formations that our brain interpreted as something familiar. Some enthusiasts even theorized that Martians had covered the structure with dust to hide evidence of their presence. Mars is full of these curious formations. It has a crater that looks like a perfect heart for Valentine's Day, another that resembles the classic smiley emoji from the 70s, with 2 dots for eyes and a curve for the mouth. There's even a rock formation that looks like a humanoid sitting on a stone, relaxing and contemplating the Martian landscape. Some joke that it looks like the Martian Bigfoot. Speaking of Bigfoot, isn't it interesting how we only have blurry videos from the 60s as evidence of this supposed giant primate? With all current technology, cameras in every pocket, drones, satellites, and yet the best evidence continues to be that shaky little film from decades ago. As comedian Mitch Hedberg used to say, maybe Bigfoot is naturally blurry. That's why we can never photograph him clearly. Going back to our Martian structures, the reality is that when you have thousands of miles of mountain ranges, canyons, and rock formations, statistically, some will intersect at right angles. We don't point to the ones that meet at 45 degrees because 45 degrees has no special meaning to us. We don't pay attention to obtuse or acute angles. But 90 degrees? That messes with our mind because we learned in school that 90 degrees is special. It's the right angle. It's geometry. It's mathematics. It's intelligence. There's something psychologically fascinating about this human tendency to find something inexplicable and immediately think of aliens. It's as if our mind needs to fill knowledge gaps with the most exotic explanation possible. Maybe it's the cost of having such a curious and imaginative brain. Maybe it's exactly what makes us human and feeds our creativity, our stories, our art. The point isn't to dismiss these discoveries as nonsense. On the contrary, they're fascinating and deserve investigation. If we have a future mission to Mars and there are convincing scientific reasons to visit this square structure, why not? We can include this stop in the exploration itinerary. The problem arises when we jump straight to extraordinary conclusions without extraordinary evidence to support them. NASA has clear priorities when planning missions to Mars, finding evidence of life, whether past or present. This is the goal that drives billions of dollars in investment and decades of planning. Interesting geometric structures are on the list, but not at the top of it. It's a matter of limited resources and well-defined scientific objectives. The most important thing is to maintain our ability to marvel at the universe without losing critical thinking. Mars is a fascinating world, full of real mysteries that don't need aliens to be impressive. It has canyons deeper than the Grand Canyon, volcanoes larger than Mount Everest, evidence of ancient oceans, dust storms that cover the entire planet. Our imagination is a powerful tool, but it needs to work together with science, not against it. When we look at these intriguing images of Mars, we're participating in the greatest exploration adventure in human history. We're literally expanding our understanding of entire worlds, about the possibility of life in the universe, about our place in the cosmos. The next time you see a viral image of some strange structure on Mars, remember this conversation. Allow yourself to feel that chill down your spine, that excitement about the unknown, but also look for multiple sources, scientific context, alternative explanations. Reality may be less dramatic than aliens building geometric structures, but it's infinitely richer and more complex. The universe is already spectacular enough without us needing to invent mysteries where they don't exist. Each new image of Mars shows us a real world, with a real history of billions of years, with fascinating geological processes, with real possibilities of having harbored life. Isn't that fantastic enough? So the next time someone shows you a photo of a strange structure on Mars, you already know. It can be fascinating. It can be intriguing. It might even be worthy of scientific investigation. But it's probably just another example of our brain's incredible ability to find familiar patterns in a completely alien world. Did you enjoy this dive into Martian mysteries? Then hit that like button down there, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any space adventures, and go ahead and watch more of our suggested videos. I'm sure you'll be amazed by what real science has to show us. Until the next exploration, folks, bye.